Okay, all right. This is called Healing the Wounds of Time. And what we're going to do, it's a little different this time than we did last time, is it is going to be experiential. And what we're going to do is we're going to begin with the dial-up. Everybody know what the dial-up is? Okay, we're going to begin with the dial-up. And then we're going to have a little discussion on what we started talking about in part 1, but we didn't get to go through the experience of it. And that was what we call the Templar Wars, or the Fall of Brennaway, which occurred in this spot in Sarasota, Florida, 208,216 BC. So we're going to be taking a journey back in time, and we're going to be releasing something that has been holding us in this hologram for a while. Then Terry Sheely will talk to you about the emotional body and some of the wonderful aspects of the emotional body. Then, if all goes well, we'll take a break. We'll come back, and then we'll learn a little bit about our slide family, which is the floating Buddhas, and then we will go through that technique. And hopefully by the end of this, you'll be able to go back to your room into a nice, quiet space and just continue the healing. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Pammy. I manage the Cathar team with Mac, Marianne Calloway, Speaker 3. And this is Terry Sheely, co-teacher today. So we will begin with the all-important copyright. Okay, the AP is the Azurite Press. The MCEO, Melchizedek Cloister, Emerald Order. Freedom Teaching Series, because when you engage in these technologies, you will eventually find freedom. So the disclaimer here is important, so I'm going to read that for you. The materials presented in this presentation reflect the dynamics of the emerging MCEO materials, which are ever expanding, ever growing, and the reality that the detailed understanding of major topics is under continuous development, which I think we all agree. Therefore, the contents and level of detail herein are as advanced as possible up to the date of publication of the source material. So we're not going to be having any of the information from 2010 in this presentation, okay? This is, can we go to the next slide, please? This is our ascension vehicle. So when we do Rasha Era Christ Star Now, does everybody know how to do that? Is there anybody who doesn't know how to do that? Okay, that's great. So we say Rasha Era Christ Star Now. We say Rasha at the Iumbi. We kind of squeeze there. Era up here at the Azure. Christ Star. And then you hold the breath and now. And then you visualize yourself popping out into this beautiful vehicle. Okay? So if everybody wants to do 3 breaths, and on the now is when you exhale. So it's Rasha, Era, Christ Star. Now. So do that 3 times. Clap tap. And feel the reality of your Christ Star vehicle around you. Just take a minute and just take a couple of breaths and feel the reality of those frequencies. And you're within them. So when we do the dial-up, we're going to say, in the name of the Melchizedek Cloister Emerald Order, Holy Order of the Unisai Sacred House of One. And then we're going to sing the Song of Lyra. And then we're going to repeat this one 3 times, and I'll take you through it on the slides when we go through each one. And then we'll do this one 3 times, this one 3 times, this one, and then we'll end saying Taisha Intadore 3 times. Okay? When we go through the dial-up, we have individual slides, so we're going to take a little bit of time so you have time to breathe the energy and frequency of the consciousness of the code. Okay. So this is the... Let's try that again. This is the invocation of the Maharata, the Song of Lyra. This is the beginning part of the Song of Lyra. It's the creation decree invocation as the personal D12 Christos Avatar Maharata self-identity. So if we can say this together, and I like to say this too, even though it's in parentheses and italicized, I still like to say it because it reminds me that I'm not just reading something, I'm giving feeling and intention to it. Okay, so on 3, let's do that. 1, 2, 3. From this still point of my wholeness in manifest decision, I decree in sovereign knowing, here expressed at my command, lovingly stated, absolute intention, the divine will and intention of the one self that is one God. The one self that is one God, this I am. It's actually doing it on the laptop. Okay. Can we take just a second here? We have technical difficulties. What happened? And this one here? I'll try that, see if that works. Well, I guess you guys really need to understand that slide. Let's see what's going on here. This is weird.
Where are we? Okay, let's highlight this.
Let's go up here. Try that. Did it go? Yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay, so just take a breather, take a deep breath, and pretend Melchizedek is spelled correctly on the top. That would be my sixth finger. Okay, so we're going to say this one here one time, and then we're going to sing this song. Right here is where you would put what you call yourself. If you have a Christos name, you would put that in there. If you don't, you would put your name or anything else that you choose them to know you or call you by. So for those new people, it goes Maharata cum bivectus, and then you'd say your name, so I'd be Pammy here. Inevokai un iblium bivectai, ma'a bivectai un ure urnam ur, iste unte isa trajda hehera, patate a ashelum taeja intadoe, share ure acum tun. And we sing that part 3 times. Okay, so we're going to sing the Song of Lyra once, and this is going to be 3 times. Okay? Are you ready? In the name of the Melchizedek Cloister, Emerald Order, Holy Order of the Unisai, Sacred House of One. Beautiful. Close your eyes and just feel those frequencies. Not you, Terry. Next slide. Okay, this is pronounced Ma'ahwete unise eshadur. And when you inhale this one, you're going to inhale into the Iumbi area, which is 2 inches below your navel. Ma'awete unise eshadur, you say that 3 times and then exhale, okay? And when you do that, remember that there are codes up here and they're pretty pictures up here, but they're conscious, they're alive, they're beings. So you're inviting this aspect of yourself that looks like that, that's how you perceive it, into your reality, okay? So we'll go 3 times. Ma'awete unise eshadur. Ma'a huete unise eshadur. Ma'a huete unise eshadur. Okay, does everybody know the dial-up? You're just inviting it to be part of you, part of your being, its beingness to be part of with you. Is that what you're asking?
You can expand it from the rock.
From the EOMB.
Okay.
We're having more technical difficulties. Just click on that part, and then you have to tell it it's a presentation again. Yeah? So just use page down. Yeah, okay? Yeah, okay. So this is pronounced Le'etore Ethwa Duete Niwa. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Le'etore Ethwa Duete Niwa. Le'etore Ethwa Duete Niwa. Le'etore Ethwa Duete Niwa. Of course, you all knew that was Ethwa. Next slide. I am the Adondra 360 now. I am the Adondra 360 now. I am the Adondra 360 now. Now visualize this aqua flame. Visualize the flame all around you. Breathe in the consciousness. Allow it to co-create with you this evening. Ask it to be with you. Okay, next slide. All right, this is pronounced, I'm going to say it first, and then we'll say it together. Adondra Iesta Utshiwa Adonai. And we'll say it now. Adondra Iesta Utshiwa Adonai. Adondra Iesta Utshiwa Adonai. Adondra Iesta Utshiwa Adonai. Breathe it in. Ask it to co-create with you. Okay, next slide, please. Ta'esha intadore, ta'esha intadore, ta'esha intadore. And then we're going to do the Song of Rama. Okay, this goes for the new people. Mate padeon, D-E-E-A-O. Mate padeon, D-E-E-E-E-E-A-O. Mate padeon, Itu ensha ejanita deo. Okay, and there's a tune that you'll pick up real fast, but we're going to do it 3 times for those of you that know how to do this. And those who don't, you can sit and breathe and feel the frequencies. Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Mate padeon, a little bit faster. And a little bit faster. Beautiful. Okay, just breathe in the frequencies. Can you see the slides okay, or do we need the lights a little lower? Yeah? Can we do that, Scotty? Can we make the lights a little lower? Yeah, it's probably over there, the magic touch. Hi. Do you have a question?
The ones that we read 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
What are the meanings? Because
you're calling on aspects of yourself, and they call it the dial-up because it's like you're phoning home. So when you do the dial-up, you're calling to those aspects of yourself and saying, yes, please, I'm reaching my hand to you, reach back to me, and let's co-create together. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say that. I can do it right now. Okay, so we had a question, and the question was, what are we doing with the dial-up? So what you are doing when you use the dial-up and you use those frequencies, you're reaching to an aspect of yourself that those consciousness codes represent, and you're saying, I am ready to co-create with you. Please come and co-create with me. That's what you're doing. You're reaching to those aspects of yourself. And they call it the dial-up because affectionately, when it first came out, it was called phone home. So we're dialing up home. We're making a frequency bridge from ourselves here in this reality to those parts of ourselves in other realities. Okay, does that answer your question?
Actually, no, that I know. I was asking the translation of those particular ones.
Those are the sound tones that they choose to be called by. Okay?
So there's no English.
Not that I know of. It could be there. Okay, so we call this healing the wounds of time because we're hoping that everybody can receive some really profound healings tonight. And the reason that it can be really profound at the Grual is because the Grual is the center control point for the planetary Templar system. And the Grual is in Sarasota, Florida. It's off Siesta Key Beach, about a quarter mile into the water. So when we gather in a group shield, first of all, your healing is amplified because of the group shield. You all come with the same intention, so you add your intention to it. And then we get the added plus of being at the Grual. Okay? So when we come to the Grual for healing, first thing you think about is water, right? When you think of Florida, you think about water. When I think of the Grual, I think about water. Well, the Grual corresponds to the emotional body. Okay? It's the second stargate in the planetary stargate system, and that corresponds to the emotional body of the planet. We also have a Grual in our Templar. It's not where you would think it was in the second chakra. It's actually in our tailbone. Okay? So we're going to be going back in time. We're going to learn about the fall of Brennaway, which I said earlier occurred on this spot in the Grual, 208,216 BC. I don't know if it was this spot that we're on, but it was a completely different time back then. And then we're going to engage in the Kisa Array clearing. This is where we get to meet our slide family and the floating Buddhas. Okay? And the slide family is, once you engage in this technique, and if you continue to work with it, they will be the ones that will help you get to meeting in Earth, no matter what. They're your slide family. They're with you until you get where you need to go. Okay? So we'll begin the presentation now. So the Templar Wars. The Templar Wars occurred 208,216 BC. And, you know, it was a time where we had the choice to choose the higher spiral or the higher road, or the lower spiral or the lower road, which is indicative by the diagram here. You choose the higher spiral, you go into orb, and you become orbable, and you can go wherever you want and finally become into the ultimate goal of at-one-ment with Source. When you go into the lower spiral, you are going further and further away from that ultimate goal of at-one-ment. So, what exactly is the fall of Brennaway? What exactly is the Templar Wars? Well, every Templar and every planetary system has guardians that run the planetary Templar. Okay? As guardians of the planetary Templar back in the Templar Wars, as Oraphim, which means children of light, we lost control of our temples. We were in charge of the temples. The temples was what we used to run the Stargate system. So we lost control of our temples to the Nephidim. The Nephidim are a draconian, reptilian, human hybrid. And we fell into the lower spiral. The planetary Templar opened on a 10-code pulse, which is why if you put both hands up, you'll only see 10. You'll see 5 on this hand and 5 on this hand instead of seeing 6 on each hand. We know we have our etheric thumb from Kathara 2-3, which would make 6 and 6, which would make 12, which is the angelic human imprint. But that didn't happen. We opened on a 10-code pulse, and we lost the ability to run the D12 frequency on the planet. which meant that anything on the planet for the last 200,000 years was only running on partial 10 code frequencies, 10-dimensional frequencies. However, January 1st of 2000 was called Transcendence Day, because what happened was the dimensional 12 frequency was anchored on planet for the first time in over 200,000 years. That allowed us to be gifted with the Maharic seal. Everybody knows what the Maharic seal is, am I right? That was the process of beginning to run D12 frequency through your internal Templar. Okay? Next slide, please. So, yes?
Is the Nephilim the same as the Nephilim?
No, I don't believe it is. Don't quote me on this, but I believe the Nephilim is the Anunnaki version, and the Nephilim would be the Draconian version. Okay? But I haven't got clarification on that. Those are just my thoughts. Okay. So you would sit there and say, okay, so why do I want to know this, and how is it affecting me now in my life now? Well, when the Templar Wars occurred, there was an imprint of final impact. And what this was as the guardians of the Templar, we lost control of the Templar, the guardian races had to come in and destroy the temples and anything in them, because the temples were what was used to run the Stargates. Through intermarrying with the Draconian hybrid races, the angelic human lost the ability to run the D12 frequency. So that when we ran what were called rainbow roundtables, which is how we ran the Templar, instead of running dimensional 12 frequency through it and keeping everything in alignment on the planet with the universal physics, what happened was the reversals started going into the rainbow roundtables, and that's what caused the Stargates to open on a 10-code pulse. Okay, does everybody understand that? Okay, so what that did was that created an imprint of final impact and a terror pattern. It created a thick karmic pattern that we are still dealing with today. It left an imprint of never being satisfied with yourself, no matter how good you do. Somebody else always does it better, am I right? Mm-hmm. We lost control. No? Okay, I want your number. Name and number, please. We have a guilt complex of losing control of the temples to the Nephilim. We have a guilt complex of losing control of the Stargates and of losing control of ourselves as liquid light avatars and getting stuck in the densities for over 200,000 years. That's our history here right now. So our choices, as we know, determine our experience. So today, if you so choose, you can choose to travel back in time with us and release something called the Pleiadian seal. Can we go to the next slide? So this is a review here. In 208,216, we lost control of our temples to the Nephilim. That created this guilt complex here. That's how you read this here. The Guardians had to come and destroy the temples because the Nephilim could control the Stargates if they had control of the temples. So the Oraphim were offered a choice. We could leave with the Guardians and evacuate, or we could stay with partners that were taken over by the Nephilim. So some people chose to stay. Actually, many people chose to stay, and some people chose to leave. And so what happened was the Oraphim that chose to stay spent many days waiting, knowing that the ships were coming because the Guardians were going to destroy the temples. Okay? So, there was a lot of self-reflection. There was a lot of crying. There was a lot of emotion. And then there was a peace that came over the group. And then right when the peace came, so did the ships. Okay? The ships came, and we saw the destruction of our temples. We saw the destructions of our bodies. And we entered the cycles of reincarnation, which we were never, ever intended to enter. We saw an aerial attack with phaser-type technologies, and the temples that we knew and loved, and the people that stayed behind that we knew and loved, were vaporized. There was nothing left. And so this also caused a core imprint of the amplification of pain. And why would that be? Because the Oraphim were empaths, okay? They could feel each other. They were tuned to each other's fields. So if, say, Terry was feeling ill someday, everybody in this room would know that Terry wasn't feeling well, and she would have instantaneous healing. But it also meant that if they experienced anything that wasn't nice, that we would also experience that as well. So whether you were an Orifim, if you were, chose to stay, or whether you chose to leave, you still experienced the imprint of final impact. Okay, so we came in with this Orifim guilt complex. We knew the mission had failed because we came in too late. We carry a deep frustration and a deep personal blame about that. And this is what created a tremendously thick karmic pattern. So it created a need to be overly rigid, having to get something perfect every time. Right? I know you guys are indigos, right? Needing to be overly perfect, over-perfectionist. Needing to be absolutely sure you get everything right all the time because you don't ever want to make that mistake again. So what'd you do? What did we do? We give ourselves really, really hard lessons over and over again so that we get it right every time. So this created an imprint of never being satisfied with the self, as we discussed. No matter how well we do, it's never good enough. You can have somebody who's acing everything, and if you ask them, you think that it's good enough, they'll say no. Usually. I don't know, Matthias might not. Someone else always did it better, and you can't accept compliments very well. Okay, so these are things that we carry, whether you recognize it or not. You're part of the shield here. The reason that you were probably drawn to this workshop was so that you could heal these. Once and for all, begin the potential for healing at the Gruel, and in this group shield is really, really profound, particularly when we start working with the Buddhas. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so this terror imprint that we just looked at there left us with a fear of expansion, a fear of expanding our consciousness. So we needed to be overly rigid while we put our consciousness back together, because our consciousness fragmented when it was vaporized. Okay? Fear of letting go. How many people have that? 2? That's what I thought. Okay. I'll put myself on that one too. Fear of letting go because you felt yourself let go unwillingly. You felt your molecules being thrust apart. So that's where an imprint of the fear of letting go can come from. Fear of losing control. This is because, again, you felt yourself losing focus as your morphogenetic field was shattering. Fear of being obliterated. Well, that's because basically those that were present there had their consciousness obliterated, spread from one part of harmonic universe to the other. Yes? I don't know how else to explain it, really. You got it? Okay. Okay. So fear and love cannot exist at the same time while in polarity. So when we go back and we journey into time, we're going to be releasing a lot of this fear, which will allow more of the love to embody. Okay? Can we have the next slide? So how are we going to do that? Did you know you could change the past? We're going to change the past. We're going to go into a technique or a journey that was given by Ashana Rosara in 2001 that's called Entering the Harmonic. By reversing our hologram as if it never took place and putting in a different series of events into our morphogenetic holographic template or our blueprint for manifestation, we are recoding the past. We are calling to the fore a different probability, which will be in line with a different probable future. And it will release the karmic mess that's between here and there, between the past and the present. It will realign your vector or focus of consciousness to a higher level of evolution from this point forth, the point where we change it tonight. Okay, next slide. So, what we're going to do is we're going to release something called the Pleiadian seal. Now, the Pleiadian seal, this is obviously the Cathargid. This is not the Pleiadian seal. However, I want to explain the image because our Cathargid is covered with all kinds of miasmic stuff, okay? With the Pleiadian seal, it was an agreement between two races, the Pleiadians and the Syrians. It was 150,000 years ago, and they were trying to clear up the mess that was created by the Templar Wars and the fall of Brenaway. So they decided they would break down the way the Cathargid works. That wasn't a very good idea, as we can attest to. And instead what they did was they created an amplification of the problem. So the core karmic imprint is in the second chakra, our emotional bodies. Okay, next slide. Now, see, we're going to release the Pleiadian seal, and now it's all nice and clear, and the sun's coming out, and all that darkness is gone. Isn't that good? So what this does is it allows your avatar to become embodied. When you release this Pleiadian seal, you'll begin to function normally, whatever normally means in this reality. But you release level upon level upon level of 200,000 years of karmic mess. We're going to begin releasing that tonight. And begin the process of activating the 5th and the 6th strands of DNA. Well, who doesn't want to do that? Okay, so can we go to the next slide? So we're going to engage in the Crystal River Prayer. And the slides will be up here for you to read. For those of you who don't know how to pronounce it, please just follow along as best you can. And we're going to get to a certain point. Everybody who knows this, when we get to the point where we now co-create with the aurora fields, we are going to ask, if you so choose, I'm going to ask for the healing tonight to be with ease and grace, be full and complete, right? Okay? And whatever else you so choose. Okay? But ease and grace is an important one when you ask for healing, because we never ever really know what we have going on until we start healing. And we're dealing with the emotional body, so ease and grace is a good thing. Okay, so is everybody ready? All right, so on 3 we'll begin. 1, 2, 3. Diva enture ista endao, rea vea un cristallo, irajo etina have, etutore enshahe, nuvoete entaro, siva blene urtu encale, dehiniva esalaso, enduetra donaquari, dehi urto tradila, urintaro dehatur, cumsa eho dureteta, enta hum un cristale, cumsa eho dureteta aqueous, cumsa eho dureteta aquafari, cumsa eho dureteta aquari, cumsa eho dureteta hatur, cumsa eho dureteta adone, cumsa eho dureteta iane, cumsa eho dureteta iani ma'ahwete, cumsa eho dureteta ushale zundu rosete, cumsa eho dureteta mashaya hana akuyan, cumsa eho dureteta ut aurore. Take an in-breath. Exhale. Ready? Bendi duro ameja ut aurore aquian. Bendi hale isha nua ut aurore aquian. Bendi rame ratajentu ut aurore aquian. Bring forth now the crystal river of eternal first creation. Bring forth now the healing waters of the Edans Shadi. Bring forth now the gentle windsong of the sacred unison. Bring forth here the radiant starlight of the eternally starborn. Let the crystal river flow unto my doorstep. Let the crystal river cleanse and heal my soul. May the crystal river love song, all embracing, emerge now from my Christed crystal core to softly call me home. Diva enture, ista endao, ria vea un cristallo. Diva enture, ista endao, ria vea un cristallo. Diva enture, ista endao, ria vea un cristallo. Ashalumta e kasha dur, ashalumta e kasha dur, ashalumta e kasha dur. Let's take it in breath. Riavea un cristallo, elementai and evocai. The crystal river elemental command invocation, Christiac sanctification and salvage rite, reclamation. Right here. In the name of the Melchizedek cloister, Emerald Order, Holy Order of the Unisai, Sacred House of One. In the name of the Mashayahana Council of Aquarium. In the name of the councils of Cristale. In the name of the councils of Crystal River. In the name of the councils of Aurora. We call upon the Christiac powers of the Sha'e Da'amur. We call upon the Christiac powers of the Ja'et Edura. We call upon the Christiac powers of the Aquiel. We call upon the Christiac powers of the Etalea Cristale. We call upon the Christiac powers of the Ithapur Shale. We now command with the entrusted powers of Aurora Light. We now invoke the eternal Christed Son to co-create, release, and renew this place. Just take a moment to put your personal request in there. Remember ease and grace if you choose the healing tonight. Is everybody ready? Okay. We now declare in eternal sanctification this place, this land, and all within, into the Christiac protection herein set, that the spirit of Earthasala rise, the power of Earthasala heal, and the wisdom of Earthasala here within preside. In the name of the eternal Christ of first creation, and by the divine vehicle of the Rihavea un Cristallo. Co-creative Christ embrace with absolute humility, absolute love, and absolute forgiving, and only in absolute service to the eternal Christ and its ever-loving healing devotion to all life everywhere. We banish now from this sacred place all that is unwilling to receive the absolute cleansing of the Cristale within the covenants of divine right order and divine right timing, as only eternal God Source can know. In loving Christiac service, we offer release and host arrangement. All those present whom are in need seek to heal within the sacred cleansing field of Earthasala and the eternal divine flows of the Ria Vea un Cristallo. In Christiac reverence, joy, and gratitude for the unceasing love and mercy of the one source most divine, we end now and complete this Christiac sanctification and salvage rites of reclamation. In the name of the one true source God eternal, in the name of the Christ divine, in the name of the Ria Vea un Cristallo, in the name of the Mashayahana Council of Aquarium, in the name of the councils of Cristale, in the name of the councils of Crystal River, in the name of the councils of Aurora, in the name of the Melchizedek Cloister, Emerald Order, Holy Order of the Unisai, Sacred House of One, and in the name of Femi, the Eternally Christiac, I am this, I am. Taeja intadore, Taeja intadore, Taeja intadore. When we do this one, we're going to do one round of verse 1 and one round of verse 2. Then we're going to do another round. We're going to go a little bit faster. And then we'll do the third round and go even faster. Okay? All right. Does anybody need me to point? Okay, good. Okay, so on three. 1, 2, 3. A little faster. That was awesome. Just take a deep breath, inhale it, and exhale. I believe the next slide just says journey in time. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to get comfortable in your seats. I'm going to read a journey for you, and hopefully you will experience everything that you came for. And then some, I'm sure.
Whole 200,000 years of karma.
You're going to begin the potential. That would be really nice if we could wipe 200,000 years clean like that. It could happen. That's right. Intention is very, very important. Okay. Can I get that chair? Thank you. Probably about 30 minutes. Would you like to have a comfort break? Okay. Is everybody good? Would you like to have a comfort break first? Yeah, that's right. We'll give you 3 minutes. 3 minutes. We're counting. Okay, so close your eyes. And get ready to journey back into your past in order to bring healing into the present. Now we're going to visualize a circular doorway with a blue-black light on the other side that represents the dyadic doorway that you can pass through to access memory. We're going to go into the blue-black light on a straight vector or straight line projection of consciousness. Let us see ourselves for a moment as a small speck of white light passing through the doorway. Breathe slow and gentle. With each exhale, move a bit more forward through the doorway and out into the blue-black light. Now before you, imagine, and if you don't see it, that's okay, just imagine that it's there. Imagine a spiral of energy that is multicolored rainbow energy that is spiraling in front of you. And you are going to enter this spiral of energy. You're going to know as you pass through it, this is the spiral of all the incarnations that you have lived up to this point. And they begin with a seed core, a core crystal at the end of that spiral that started the whole operation in motion. Because you are a group of Orifim that are known and appreciated much in the higher dimensional fields, you will share a common point of entry, an original point of entry. Let us move now as a spark of white light down through the rainbow spiral, through the rainbow tunnel. See us moving toward another spark of light that appears way at the distance of the tunnel. It's getting larger and larger as we move closer and closer, until we see what looks like a large sun at the end of the rainbow tunnel. This light at the end of the rainbow tunnel symbolizes the information that is stored on the original imprint, the original core entry point into the harmonic one when you came in as avatars. When you came in on the rescue mission that failed, there was a sense that the Orifim, and only the Orifim, carried of a deep frustration and a deep personal blame. Orifim were always hard on themselves because they were perfectionists in certain ways. They expected high performance from themselves, and when they didn't, they took it very hard and taught themselves very hard lessons. So when you sit as a consciousness in your rainbow tunnel and perceive this light at the end, there's a part of yourself all wrapped up in there that has been a bit too hard on itself through these many, many incarnations. And it is this time for that self to leave its station, to allow itself to evolve, to stop paying for what it felt it did wrong. One of the things that will help you heal the most as the beings that you are is to remove the Orifim guilt complex. It carries through for 200,000 years and amplifies the heck out of everything you do. Every time you mess up, you have to give yourself 3 lessons instead of 1 to make sure you don't ever do it again. And this builds a tremendously thick miasmic pattern. So we're going to move into this spark of light now. We're going to take our spark of light and move into the larger light at the end of the rainbow tunnel. And when we get in there, imagine that a scene opens up. It's a scene with a pale blue sky and what appears to be a desert around it. There's a large pyramid rising up, but it is not a pyramid like the Egypt pyramids. It's a pyramid of steps, like the step pyramids they climb up. It is not those flat-sided ones. It is also flat-topped because we used to have craftland there. This was the place where it began. And if you would expand the image, and if you can't see it, just imagine that it's there. Beyond the image of the pyramid, you will see complexes of walls and smaller pyramid structures, all connected together. It was a large, large pyramid complex that was housing for the cloister races of the time. The time was approximately 220,000 years ago that we started to come in. But this is a time where we got fixated. And if we are going to heal, we need to release the fixation. Each one of us had a role to play in these times, and it doesn't matter anymore what the role was, because what happened in the end were the guardian races needed to come in and destroy the temple complexes, because they had fallen under the hands of the Nephidim, and they could control the stargates with them. So we've been offered choices. We could have chosen to leave and be evacuated, or we could have chosen to stay with our partners that we came in with, who had been taken over by the Nephidim. Many, many of us had lost partners. Many, many of us chose to stay in the densities until we could retrieve them. So we saw the destruction of our temples and the destructions of our bodies at the time. And we entered the cycles of reincarnation that we really never intended to do. As we sit with our consciousness within the middle of this sun, at the end of the rainbow tunnel, there's one imprint that has repeatedly caused a problem up to this day. And that I call the imprint of final impact. There was a wide sweep of destruction of the temple in those days. Aerial attacks with phaser-type technology, far advanced than what we know now. They were literally blown up and vaporized, and anyone and anything in them was also. The people who chose to stay, the Oraphim who chose to stay, spent a number of days waiting, knowing the strikes were going to come. It was a final parting party because you knew that you would never quite be the same again after this experience and after entering the incarnations. It was a journey, and it would not be an easy one. Some of you cried, but eventually, right at the end, in the last hours, a silence and a peace came upon the group. They understood that eventually it would be righted. Everything eventually would be set the way they were intended, and there was no more reaction to it. Right after the peace came, so did the starships. And when the starships came, the consciousness of the Oraphim, many of them, were vaporized. They were fragmented, their morphogenetic fields fragmented. Some of them ended up having to evolve through animal imprints just to get up enough consciousness together to be able to enter any type of human imprint. Others managed to escape with some of their morphogenetic imprint intact. But there is a terror pattern that has stayed with them. A terror pattern that is the feeling of coming unglued at the seams as you were conscious and fully aware while your morphogenetic fields literally blew apart. You could feel yourself coming unglued, losing total control of your consciousness, losing total control of your focus. It was a terror of completely becoming obliterated, because you could no longer hold the focus of your attention. This has come through with the Oriflame as a core imprint that messes up the Kathara grid. It messes up the way the Kathara centers work in the body. It's a miasmic imprint. It created a fear of expansion, a need to be rigid within the developing consciousness as the Oriflame put themselves back together. Overly rigid, overly perfect, overly absolutely sure you get it right all the time. There's an imprint where you will never, ever be satisfied with yourself because of that. No matter how good you do, it's never quite good enough. You can't accept compliments particularly well, and somebody else always did it better. It's a competitive thing, a self-competitive thing. It's a fear of expansion and a fear of letting go, because you felt yourself letting go, not willingly. You felt yourself being thrust apart, your molecules, your consciousness, your morphogenetic field being scattered from one end of harmonic universe 1 to the other, worrying if you would ever assemble your parts again. So we are going to go into, for just a moment, into the center of the image of the temple, the step temple. Just imagine it there if you cannot see it. Imagine yourself as a consciousness, as a spark of light, moving into the center of the temple. And imagine yourself for a moment in the final moments, knowing you, an avatar, were about to be fragmented to pieces. Let the feeling of that move a little, because there is a part of you that has a panic response, and you may feel it in the 4th and the 5th chakras. Just take a moment and let that feeling move through you. You might feel a little flutter in those areas. Just simply breathe in and exhale and let it go. Move it out into your field, into the outer levels, and let your higher levels of self take care of it for you. Just inhale and exhale it out. Okay. With this core imprint, there is an amplification of pain. Because Oriflame were all connected to each other. They were empathic and totally attuned to each other's fields. So when one was in pain, the others felt it also. It allowed for very spontaneous healing and very effective healing, and also very strong community. But when it came to fragmentation, it amplified the experience of being totally violated and ripped apart for every one of them. So this is the experience. This is the first that must be let go. There is a way to do this by going back one step further before the temples blew. Going back a bit further in time to when we first came in. We came in too late. If that could be corrected, we can reverse the imprint in our hologram as far as what has taken place. Now this is very important because in reversing our hologram as if it never took place, putting in a different series of events into our morphogenetic holographic template, we are recoding the past, literally. We are calling to the fore a different probability, which will be in line with a different probable future. And it will release the karmic mess that's between here and there, between the past and the present. It will realign your vector of consciousness to a higher level of evolution from this point forth, the point where you changed it. You can change the past. If it's all a hologram, it's just a series of pictures that aren't even pictures. They're energy signatures. You can shift your focus and orientation to them. We will take you into the experience of recoding the hologram, which is not hard to do. It comes down to remembering the separation between the lower spiral and the higher spiral. The frequencies that feel higher and those that feel lower in any little moment point. We fell into the lower spiral 200,000 years ago. We were not the only ones. Because of it, because what we did in combination with what other people did, the whole planet itself opened on a 10-code pulse, which means the stargates did not open properly, and the people in the consciousness here henceforth became trapped. They have been trapped out of their silicate matrix 12-strand DNA coding. We have been held prisoner for over 200,000 years. Psychological prisoners. If we reverse in our personal imprint the original trauma drama, we will also piece by piece, each one of us that were there, begin to do this. Begin to reverse it in the Orpheum race experiential line, which will reach critical mass and then affect the human race experiential line. Piece by piece, by restoring the proper way it should have gone through each of our personal incarnational core histories, we can bring the earth grid back into as if it never happened. Which means we can clear the race and the planetary karma so this planet can begin to do what it was supposed to do 200,000 years ago, which was go into a full ascension cycle and into matter transmutation and begin to enter its orbit with the fourth dimensional frequencies. That was blocked all those years ago, and we were blocked with it. It's our chance to heal now. And as we work to heal ourselves, we will be helping the planetary grid to heal as well. Now, we will take our spark of light that is in the center of the temple, and we will imagine before us that there is a very tall image of a Kathara grid. If you don't remember what it looks like, you don't need to imagine it as clearly. You can simply imagine a pillar of energy that has 12 points on it. That's all you need to imagine there. But if you are imagining the Kathara grid, or the pillar, imagine the energy is very, very dark in color. It's made out of black particles, and the black particles are shaped like cubes, shiny black cubes. This is what the karmic miasmic imprint looks like when you peel it away from the morphogenetic field. There is a way of reversing the karmic miasmic imprint by combining the miasmic Kathara grid with its antiparticle double. It creates fusion and fission and replication on the next highest octave. It reverses the spin of the particles that we call the karmic miasmic pattern. It changes it within the body. This is a multi-level process, but we will begin with the first core karma, the karma of the temple wars. And we will see ourselves within the temple, for this gives us the locational coordinate. So see ourselves within the temple as our locational coordinate. See before you a dark pillar or a dark Kathara grid. And know that this represents the lower frequency spiral, and that it implies the existence of a higher frequency spiral. What we are going to do is switch vectors from the lower to the higher. We are going to do this by imagining a pillar of light, bright white, a little bit of silver tint to it. Or if you're doing the Kathara grid, imagine a Kathara grid made of beautiful white light with silver tints to it. So breathe for a moment and get a little bit of focus on your breath. Okay. Now inhale while simultaneously, as if one is stationed in each eye, one pillar, light and dark, doesn't matter which eye. Breathe them together into the center as you inhale. Hold the breath for a moment. Try to hold it a bit longer than you would normally, until you feel a shudder. Because you will feel a shudder when those two images lock. because they're particle-antiparticle composites, scalar waves of the opposite universes. And when you feel the shudder, you can exhale. The shudder in the body indicates the phase locking of frequency. You've now got the fields bonded. The miasmic field is now bonded to its higher level. The higher level is stronger. It's composed of higher frequency, and it will be able to override the miasmic pattern. And now, because the core of the miasmic pattern is located deep within the second chakra, down in the abdomen below the navel, the core of the second chakra, you will find this image of the little dark Catharagrid, or the dark pillar, and you will now see that image, just like in your temple, phase locking into its opposite light. And you will begin to feel a vibration of silver energy running through your system, starting down at the second chakra. Begin to feel the vibration, because there will be a jittery little vibration as particle and antiparticle wave spectra encounter each other. There will be a transmutation occurring. Breathe gently and focus the attention still in the second chakra, the telluric kingdom, the dimension 2 level. That is the core of the core karmic program, where it's locked in and where it's been messed up. It's called the Pleiadian seal. This is going to be reversed as of this point. But the reversal will come very, very step by step and modulated by your higher parts, so as not to cause harm to you in your life and not to have your karmic pattern blow up in your face. Right now you have brought the 2 Catharagrids, or 2 pillars, and phase locked them together. And they will progressively begin a vibration of silver energy that runs through them until they literally dissolve themselves. And there is no more visualization left in the second chakra. It will evaporate itself. The little dark Catharagrid in there, in the second chakra, is the Pleiadian seal. And when the Pleiadian seal is released from you, you will begin to be able to function normally. You will begin to feel like you just woke up here, like you just arrived. You will begin to go back in time, except what was back there will be now, where once again you are assigned on a mission to rescue the Amenti portals. And nothing has happened yet. You were just sent in. You may have birthing experiences of the body at this time, but do you really? Or are they just part of the past hologram you are disassociating with now? When you release the Pleiadian seal, you are allowing your avatar self to become embodied. To whatever degree you will need the energies, and whatever degree the contracts have been already prearranged. As you begin to work with this release of the Pleiadian seal, simply imagine the Catharagrids, or the pillars of light, the dark and the light coming together in the center of the second chakra. Work with this and let the energy vibration run through you, because you are transmuting particle and antiparticle when that little itchy vibration spreads out from the second chakra. And it will go out into the cells, and you are transmuting waveforms as you go. You are getting rid of the Pleiadian seal, and level upon level upon level of 200,000 years of karmic imprint that is built up upon the Pleiadian seal. It's a simple technique, but it's very powerful. If you work with it, you will find levels of freedom just in your feeling and your emotional body that you have not found in a very long time. And when you feel you are done with the second chakra, move it up to the third and work with that for a while. Maybe a few weeks each one, And then after the fourth, run it through all of the chakras, but particularly 4, 3, 2, and the base chakra. 1 through 4 are the ones primarily affected by the Pleiadian seal. When this releases, which we will do in stages, you will find freedom. And you will find a gift of information waiting for you that lets you know what your mission now has to do with your mission way back then. Because they are the same mission. You are on the same contract. Whatever it was you were working on back there that got messed up, this is the time to catch the higher spiral. And though it all seems like it took 200,000 years to get this far, in truth, all time happens at once. It is just a space between the pieces of your consciousness. That is all. So as you work with this, you are reclaiming your eternal selves. And you have very special eternal selves to reclaim. Okay, slowly bring yourselves back into your body. Slowly allow yourselves to open your eyes. That's a very powerful journey. So now what we're going to do is we're going to amplify it even more. On the screen here we have the feel-good code, the Iluri Rashatan. And on the top it says, I am free. So if you take page 5, I think it is, of your handout, you will see the I am free linguistic template reprogramming grid. Do we have another handout? We do have another one. Yeah. We're getting it for you. You need one as well?
Wait,
You have two?
not from,
No,
they're on yours.
just the single page. Oh, they're on mine.
Yeah, they're not on mine.
Okay. Yeah, it's on the full page one. Okay. If you don't have one, can you sit with someone who does have it? Do you have the original handout? The original handout? Are we do you have the 12-page handout? No. Okay. Can you sit with somebody who does so that we can finish this? Will somebody share with him, please? Thank you. Thank you. So it should be page 5 in your handouts. And so, just take a deep breath, and if you choose to co-create with the feel-good code, you'd want to take your time and just inhale that in. You can breathe it into your pineal gland. You can breathe it into your azare. You can breathe it into your whole fields. And if there's ever anything that makes the emotional body feel good, it's the feel-good code. Okay. So we're going to say the I am free. Everybody has it now, correct? So we'll start on 3. 1, 2, 3. I am loved, honored, and protected, safe within the eternal arms of divine grace. I am safe, secure, and provided for by the eternal living God's source and inner Christos. I am beloved, appreciated, and cherished. I am free from karma now. I am free from shadow dancers. I am totally secure and at ease in my world. I am no longer afraid of life's many dramas. I am no longer afraid to love. I am love. I live in a safe, supporting, and loving universe. There is enough of everything for everyone. I give myself permission to live the life that I desire. I am at peace within. I am at peace without. I am peace. I am free to be all that is me. And so it is. Taeja intadore, Taeja intadore, Taeja intadore. Just breathe in the feel-good code one more time. Ask it to co-create with you. So we're going to offer a 6-minute break. Okay, and then Terry Sheely will talk to you a little bit about the emotional body.
So I'm just going to talk. Oh, stop!
But this was for Tammy as well.
Good. Yeah, her. You can do that for her. So I'm just going to talk just a little bit about a few different things with regard to the emotional body. And the sheet that I gave you has stuff about the figments and elementals and shadow dancers. I think what I would like to start out with is just reminding us all that the fact that we are in a body is a gift of the most incredible proportions, because with this body we can do so many things that we could not do if we had left the body behind already. As of 13,400 BC, when the nets fully went up, what happened was that the nets themselves actually keep our D2 body, which is our emotional elemental body, this thing right here, on natural organic spin. What does that mean? It means that it's actually our best guide to what is Christic. It is the most in tune of any aspect of us to what is still organic. So even with all the stuff that's going on with our emotional bodies and our physical bodies, because it's the same thing, it's one construct. Even with all the stuff, even with all the shadow stuff and all the craziness that we experience that is reversed, even so, that instinct and that feeling, I mean, we all responded to the call of the Christ. And wake-up call went out into the worlds, and everybody here felt that. Even if your head said, what is this stuff? Somehow there was a feeling to it that you responded to. And the feeling of that is something that is so powerful that can really be your guide through all kinds of little mazes where you don't know what's going on with your mind, you don't understand, and yet you have a feeling, you have a gut feeling, you can feel the encryption, you can feel what is the core vibrational signature of something. And Ash has said for a long time that there may be times when we have a really hard time communicating with each other. We may be more on our own. And we are all going to perhaps have to really rely on our own sense of that to really get us through to where we need to be. And so this is what's going to do that. Now, Pammy was talking about the 208,216 BC events when we had the shattering here. But even before that, the template for this entire planet, for Earth, is based on the Amenti Rescue Mission, which is from the fall of Terra, when Terra was shattered. And so there's really been a series of shatterings. So you can look at it that the entire reason for Earth being here is to repair the shattering that Terra experienced. And the way we do that is we incarnate into this reality field, which is filled with shattered fragments of consciousness from the fall of Terra. We pull those shattered fragments into our template, and we unify them